Good evening, BookTube, YouTube. This is Johnny. Thought I'd make a video. It is here in West Michigan. It is 8:40 at night. It is January the 30th. It is a Thursday night. I was going to take a bunch of books down on the lower level, but I thought I might as well show them. I mentioned in my last video that we were going to go do errands. I think it was the other day, and we stopped at thrift stores, and I picked up these used books, and I got some books in the mail I mentioned. So first I'll show the books I got at the Book Nook last Monday. I got these. I think I showed these. The Derby Day, a Victorian Mystery by D.J. Taylor. And then I picked The State of Jones, a small southern county that succeeded from the Confederacy by Sally Jenkins and John Stafford. So I got these at the book, and I got this Penguin Classics, Dorothy Parker Complete Stories. This is my third edition of this. I have two other editions of Dorothy Parker's stories, but I like the cover of this penguin. So I got these last Monday at the book. I got this for our American Civil War collection. And I mentioned D.J. Taylor. I have his biography on Orwell. And then he did a book. I have Bright Young People, The Rise and Fall of a Generation, 1918-1940 by D.J. Taylor. And yeah, I have his biography, Orwell, The Life this is a Victorian mystery, Derby Day. So I picked those up last Monday. Tomorrow is a Friday, and I once again volunteer at the library used bookstore, the Book Nook. I suppose I'll show the books I got in the mail today. I bought this from Puritan Reformed Theological Seminary, The Puritans, A Transatlantic History by David H. Hall. I have two other books by David H. Hall. I have his book, World of Wonder, Days of Judgment, Popular Religious Belief in Early New England, and I have his book, A Reforming People, Puritanism and the Transformation of Public Life in New England by David H. Hall, which I really enjoyed reading, so I thought I picked this up. I got a deal on this, so I picked that up. And then I got in the mail two books I bought from that Hamilton book thing that I came across and watching the History Shelf BookTube channel. I got this book from the Hamilton book outlet, Impossible Exile, Stephen Zweig at the End of the World by George Prochnik. I got this. A couple of years ago I read Stephen Zweig's memoir, The World of Yesterday, translated by Anthea Bell, and that's why you can see the play on the title, The End of the World, and this is The World of Yesterday. See, there's a play on the title. So yeah, I was reading this tonight, and but I really enjoyed reading this memoir a couple of years ago by The World of Yesterday by Stephen Zweig. And then I picked up from Hamilton and Alan Tate, Essays of 4 Decades. Alan Tate was a literary critic. He was a poet. He taught, and I've always been interested in him, and I thought I'd get his essays by Alan Tate. And then I picked up this biography on Windham Windham Lewis, A Life of Windham Lewis, Some Short of Genius by Paul O'Keefe. I have a novel by Windham Lewis, Self-Condemned, and then I had another book on him, Windham Lewis, A Portrait of the Artist as the Enemy by Jeffrey Wagner. So it's very hard to find his books used. They're very rare and very expensive if you find them. But he hung around with the Bloomsbury Group, Edith Sitwell, Orrin Sitwell. He was a painter, a critic, a novelist. He was a very interesting individual in his day. So I picked up this biography of him. So those are the books I got in the mail. Next comes the used books I got at a thrift store. I think it was Wednesday. Yeah, it was my wife's birthday. We went out and we did errands. We went out for lunch on her birthday, and then we stopped at thrift stores. I found this historical novel on Stalingrad by Theodore Cleaver. I can't pronounce that. This is translated out of the German by Richard and Clara Winston. And then I picked up another thing by Colette, which I collect her writings. I didn't have this one. This is The Blue Lantern. It's kind of like her last major work is half journal, half reminiscence. Describes the narrating author's world to those objects which are illuminated by a light in one's room. She wrote this when she was 75. It was translated out of French by Roger Sinhouse. I think I've shown in past videos my Colette collection, but this is one I didn't have. This one I did have. I had an old hardback, but this is a novel by Elizabeth Bowen, The Heat of the Day. I collect her writings. They're very hard to find, and I wasn't sure if I had this one, but I got it. The one I'm looking for is The House in Paris, The Last September, A Time in Rome, The Little Girls, and Eva Trout, which I don't have. I have her short stories, but not her novels. Then I picked up this historical novel by D. Brown. He's very famous for his nonfiction book, Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. But this is historical fiction by D. Brown. I didn't know he did fiction. I have his nonfiction, but not his fiction. So this is Creeks Mary's Blood by D. Brown. This is Salman Rushdie, His Imaginary Homelands, Essays and Criticism, 1981 to 1991. I already had this. Wasn't sure, but I bought it. And then I picked up Salman Rushdie, Joseph Atten, a memoir. And then I picked up John Keinath Galbraith, Economic Perspective, A Critical History. I collect his writings. I didn't have this one in my collection, which I was pleased with because I have a lot of his books. He's someone I read back when I was in high school. He was ambassador to India under the Kennedy administration. Then I picked up this novel by a writer from, I think he's from the Netherlands, Marcel In a Dark Wood. This is translated out of Dutch by Sean Whiteside. He's a very famous Netherlands writer, if I remember correctly. Widely considered the Netherlands' leading contemporary writer. He lives in Rotterdam, with his wife and children. Then I picked up Maud, The Moon and the Sixpence. Very famous novel. I picked up Prochnik's History of the Jews. T.C. Boyle, The Human and Other Stories. I collect D.C. Boyle. I didn't have this one in our collection. This is a book by Joseph Campbell, who wrote The Mask of the Gods. This is on comparative religion, mythology, and things like that. This is Myths to Live By, how we recreated ancient legends in our daily lives to release human potential. I collect the writings of Joseph Campbell. I don't agree with him 100%, but I didn't have this one in my Joseph Campbell collection. This is Cassandra's Daughter, A History of Psychoanalysis by Joseph Schwartz. I'm always interested in psychoanalysis, Freud, Jung, things like that. The unconscious, the id. This is The Spirit of Medieval Philosophy by N.T. Gibson. This is translated by A.H.C. Downs. I think he was French. This is Anastasia, the Lost Princess, a biography by James Blair Lowe. This is on the, supposed to be something to do with the Tsar. You know, they were killed by the Bolsheviks, but supposedly the story goes that one of the children survived, and this is kind of like a take on that, a biography of this woman who claimed to be the survivor of the Tsar's family who were killed by the Bolsheviks when they, back then, the Bolshevik Revolution. This is a Library of America reporting on the civil rights. This was volume 1. I collect books on the 60s. This is from Reporting on Civil Rights, Part 1, American Journalism, 1941 to 1963. This is the Library of America. If I see anything by Library of America, I pick it up. So I bought that. Then I picked this little book on Kabbalism, The Way of Jewish Mystic by Pearl Epstein. So that's what I got at thrift stores Wednesday. I wanted to get these down the lower level. And so yeah, I do plan to start reading in the mornings. I took down tonight, I took down the all the really heavy kind of stuff, the William Perkins, the Van Manstraet, the Bavick. I think I need to rest my mind. It's like I get to a point where I feel saturated. I feel like I gotta let things digest. So I'm gonna let things rest for a while and read in the mornings the Puritan, the Transatlantic History. And I did get my February 2020 diary ready tonight. Today, I ended on page 105 for January 2020. So tomorrow is the last day of January 2020, the 31st. It's a Friday. I go to the Book Nook. My wife goes back to work after being off for 3 weeks. Hopefully her sore knee will not cause problems. So yeah, that's what's going on. And I want to get these, before we get into the month of February, I want to get all this stuff downstairs. I'm trying to keep the to be read table in the living room not so full of stuff. And I want to get these down the lower level, put them away, start fresh February 1. So that's what's going on here. Like I said, this is a Thursday night. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you for the new subscribers. Thank you for the comments. And once again, I hope you're all doing well. And until next time, bye.